My face and my hair always looks bad. Because they say that vitamin E is supposed to help with the scars. So I just plug everything and everything's like, ah.
That and sunscreen. I know it's winter, but they told Rhonda when she had her plastic surgery on her face that sunscreen year round for the first year.
Yeah. Oh, we are live.
We are. I wonder if anybody remembered.
Well, somebody messaged and said, are you guys going live tonight? I said, yes. Audrey's going to be on, I'm sure.
I'm sure she will. Yeah. There's a few things you can count on, and Audrey's one of them. Right?
Debbie Hitzbiker was the first one I saw.
And Sandy.
Yeah. Oh, there's Elizabeth. Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. So, welcome to our one thing two. How many more weeks do you think?
3, baby.
Okay.
Now, whether we'll get those all in with Christmas and stuff, or whether it'll
we might
have a miss there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't even looked to see what day Christmas falls on.
Oh, it's midweek.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Nancy. Everybody's here.
Okay.
We've got 25 on. Do we want to start and talk about the perennial that's coming after this?
Sure.
Give people a chance to get logged on.
Sure.
Okay, so.
Logged on?
So, number one, I'm looking for somebody to do an interview this weekend on Sunday. I have somebody for
the one
after.
Oh, okay.
I need somebody for this week who would like to chat with me. So yeah, if that's you, let me know, because people are really enjoying the chats, but you gotta participate to keep them going. Anyway, so we are doing the perennial. Yes, we're doing that so long after Twyla's, but we're doing it a little bit different. There is an actual so long being posted by the designer, and
which is Jill Finley.
Jill Lilly
Studios.
Yeah. And so you can follow along with that. I'm not sure if it's weekly or monthly. I think it's weekly, but I'm not sure. Anyway, you can follow along with that. But we're going to put our own little twist on it. There's a couple of little changes we might do, and a couple of options to show you, if you want to change yours up, how to do it.
Well, the other thing is that this pattern looks like it's made specifically for this line of fabric in this particular panel. But
it doesn't have to.
Doesn't have to be, right? Like, there's things you could do to utilize this if you didn't like this particular line of fabric or that panel, and you wanted to do a similar look. We'll show you some options.
But the fabric is gorgeous.
It is.
It is. And the
panel, not everybody likes the same fabric.
That's right. And the panels are still a nice way to get a beautiful looking quilt without having to applique. It kind of simplifies complicated
just
quilts.
So you guys know, I just did a quick peek at that freaking pattern, and I think there's circles on it. And if it's circular piecing, Deb's doing that week. I am not doing circles.
Oh, come on. I think I'll teach you how to do it. Live.
Like, it is crazy, the mind block I have about doing curved piecing. It is ridiculous. Because I know it can be done. People do it.
Maybe we'll get Nancy down to teach a class some night, although it's winter.
Yeah, winter makes it
hard. But we could do a split screen with her.
Yes, we could. We could.
If there's circles or there's curves, Nancy, you're on.
Yes, that's a good idea. Because I will have no tips to give you other than don't try it. Because I'm a chicken.
Okay, so the perennial is going to be a fun one. And we have a few kits left over, as you may have heard. So if you want a kit, or if you just want the pattern, the panel, and the bundle, and put sashing. Are you having a hot flash?
Like, there's no way to predict here what to wear. Last week we had to wear sweaters and coats because there was no fire. Tonight it's like, whoa, baby.
Yes, Nancy Steves, we're wondering, can we do you interview next week? That would be a good...
Oh, Nancy's got so many nice things to show.
She does.
And she has a great story to tell, too. Like,
she does. Yeah. There's a lot. I don't know if we could keep her down to a half hour, though.
We're going to set a timer, Nancy.
A timer, Nancy.
To buzz you out.
1 half hour. Anyway.
In all reality, Nancy, that's better than being someone who can't fill time.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So the perennial is probably one that's probably worth joining on. Yes, we are home, Shelley. I thought it was closer. I had to come here tonight to quilt 4 quilts. And so she stopped here to teach.
Yeah.
So private message if you want one of those kits.
Mm-hmm.
TV must be crappy if he's watching tonight.
Yeah.
Stacy, I am quilting one of your quilts tonight. So you deserve to have to watch us.
Okay.
All right, so let's get going, Twyla. What do you got for us?
Okay. So.
Do we need a design board? Yes.
Oh, I don't know. Do you think you need one?
Right up there if you can reach it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably be the best. Okay. The name of the fabric. Oh, the name of the fabric
Of
line. The next so long.
Perennial.
That's the name.
No, the
Oh,
pattern
that
is sewing bee.
right.
And the fabric
line
is perennial.
Perennial. Okay. The kits are $235. And the bundles, I can't remember right off the bat. I think they're $144-ish. And
Panel.
the panel is $15, and the pattern is $17. The best bang for your buck is the kit because I decrease the price of the bundle and the pattern when I do kits up.
Everybody loves a deal.
Yes.
Okay.
Which one do you want me to show?
That
first?
one, the right in the order.
I like this one.
Okay, so this is, you've got 4 blocks this week.
How many of each?
So one of this one.
One of this one, Audrey.
So this is easy peasy. There's nothing here you can't handle. The only thing I'm going to point out, but you don't have to do it that way, is if you look at how I did my placement, when I did my half square triangles 2 at a time. So that meant I had 2 of every one I used. So you can see that I used this one and this one sort of on the same opposite sides but catty cornered each other. These 2 are mates. These 2 are mates. These 2 are mates, and then these 2 in this corner are mates. So that's the only, but you can do, if you want to do all your half square triangles in the same fabric.
Oh, you could.
And then like a different border here, like a bold solid or something. You could do
or
whatever.
you know what you could do?
What?
You could put a flowered in here and make this the same as the background.
You could.
So that it looks hollow.
Yep, you could. You can change it up however you want.
Yeah.
So that one is easy, easy peasy. I did do my flying geese 2 at a time just to save time, and that's why I repeated them where I did, right?
Okay.
So that one's easy. That's an 8.5 inch block.
One of them.
Yep. And that's called the brambles block.
The bramble.
Brambles. I guess maybe because it resembles picky thorns.
Should I hold up all these?
Yeah,
They're all the same.
Well, they're a different fabric, but they're the same block. Yeah. So this one you need 3. These are what I refer to all the time as just filler blocks, right? Now, if you can come up with something you want to do totally different for these, it's just it was a longer, narrower shape, but you could break that down if you wanted to. You could do 2 4.5 inch squares here with like a strip of background in the middle. You could do whatever you wanted because this one measures 4.5 by 10.5. So you need 3 of these, and those are just checkerboard. So I did the 2.5 inch, but you could, if you wanted to do 1 inch checkerboard, like 1.5 inch,
Just 2 more blocks.
just do more blocks, yeah.
As long as it ends up measuring what?
4.5 by 10.5.
Oh.
Right?
What did Audrey say?
What did you
I
say?
had my eye injection and had a bad reaction
Ooh.
to it.
Homework will be late. Oh, so guys, somebody besides Audrey can win this week. Just because she had a
too
bad
bad,
week.
Audrey. Oh, that sucks.
I didn't know. I thought once you had those injections a few times, if they were going good, that you wouldn't have a
Wow.
reaction. I can't imagine somebody sticking a needle in my eye. Just saying.
She's a brave woman.
I know a lot of people that have that done. They say it's not that bad, but man, they'd have to strap me down. Tie me right down. Okay, so 3 of those. So you can do whatever you want for a filler block, but I find checkerboards easy, and I kind of like the looks of them. Like when you fit them into a scrappy quilt, I kind of like them.
Debbie says she likes it sew along. I've heard a lot of positive comments about this
Good,
sew along.
good, good. Okay, so now this one is another filler one.
Did you see the picture of that next sew along I want to do? I sent you a picture of.
Did you not read my comments? Like, really? What is the point of talking to you?
I don't know. Did you answer?
And when I send her information, she reads so, you know how she's in high gear all the time? She skims, right? And then she misses half of the...
No, stop lying.
Yeah.
Look at this beautiful block.
Yes. So this is another filler block, and this is...
Kind of looks like a rail fence.
4.5 by 12.5.
Oh.
So it's broken into 3 4.5 inch blocks. So I just put a low volume with a darker one and put them opposite each other. So I strip pieced, if that's what you want to do, or you can cut them the exact size that the pattern gives, whatever you want to do. Or if you wanted to go totally plain background, like not a low volume, or if you wanted to do them all the same, you could do them all the same. And then you would get kind of a zigzaggy thing going up through if they were all the same. You'd probably follow that path through.
This block right here is how big? Is that a 2.5?
2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can totally replace this with any 2.5 inch square if you wanted to do just
If you wanted to do 2 of these like this and then do a plain one here and here, right?
Yeah,
And just
you
the
could do
opposite. You could do whatever you wanted. So let's see what you guys come up with. Let's see what you come up, because these filler blocks are fun ones to experiment on, right? They're very simple, especially when you break them down
I
like
think
that.
it would be nice to put a half square triangle here
Yeah, there you go.
and half square triangle here in all corners and kind of make that like an angle.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So there you go. Some
Yeah.
ideas for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So you only need, it's 3, whoops, I'm hooked
Sorry.
on a
sorry.
pin. So there's 3 of these sewn together, and you can sew them together because they stay together if that's what you're doing. But that strip is going to be together in the quilt. Okay?
Yeah, I can't imagine Tiana.
So now, the next one
this.
is what we're going to talk about, and I'm going to show you some stuff on this because
gonna
it's
demo
not
this.
hard.
Oh, so Sandy wants that brought in a little bit closer.
Okay.
I'll bring that in closer for you, Sandy.
Did you have a question, Sandy?
Okay.
So I actually gave the instructions for that for strip piecing.
Okay.
Yeah, in case you wanted to make it a little easier, right? Okay, so this is a spinning stair block, and although I have a few tips on this, what I've done is this is a completely free pattern, and I put the link there that you'll be able to click on and go right to
right to the page.
Right to the page, because it's one of those that I'm not supposed to actually share it. Like, it's okay for every person to go on individually and look at it, but I'm not supposed to reproduce it or whatever. So
she's just showing
I'm
you
just
where
showing
to go.
you that that's where it goes, and it takes you into. Man, I hope I brought all of that. Maybe I didn't. Oh no, I'm good. I'm good. Okay. So the one thing I will tell you is that if you paid attention at all when I showed the initial blocks, initially this did not have those corner pieces. It just had the straight white going out there. And when I laid it out in the final layout on my floors, how it's going to be sewn together, I didn't like all that white around it. So that's when I decided to put this snowball on each of the corners. And now when I lay it in where I'm putting it in my setting, I like it better. So if you don't want to do that until you lay it out, if you just want to go with the basic instruction, because that's easy, you can add that at any point at the end, right? Because it's just a snowball. Mm-hmm. So that's very easy to add later. So if you just want to stick with the initial, because this was my initial block right there. Okay? So this is cut on 45 degrees. I think I told you maybe 60 because I couldn't remember, but it's a 45 degree, which if you know anything about degrees, you'll see that this is in quadrants, and here, so this is a 90-degree angle, and this is your 45 going up through here. So that's why you're cutting it on a 45-degree angle. So we're just going to go over a few things, okay? So Deb's going to hold the thingy because I got
the thingy.
You're
She's
all
professional here. Professional wording. Thing 1 and thing 2, you might as well say thingy.
That would be me.
Okay, so you're going
I'm going over here.
Gotta find where my camera is so I don't block it.
I'm going to try to find in here and not fall.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm just trying to figure out how to get to there. Okay,
okay. So the very first thing it tells you to do is, where's my block? Where'd you set my block?
It's over there on the
Oh, okay. So I picked 2 colors a darker one. I think it will look better if you have contrast between these two colors. So you can either go dark, like if you were doing navy, you could do navy and light blue. You could do whatever you wanted. So this part here is done as a strip piece, and then we're going to cut the 45-degree angle. So that's what we're working on. Now, in your pattern, you're definitely going to have a longer strip piece than this. It tells you that for the 12, oh, and in your pattern, you're following the 12-inch size because it gives the 6-inch and 12-inch size. But I tell you all that in my directions, okay? So you're going to have longer pieces than this, but the first thing I wanted to talk about is one of the biggest things that I've sometimes had trouble when I'm cutting on diagonals like that or on angles. I can't see if I had that on. There we go. Is it's easy to get a wonk or a wave when you press open. And if you have a wave on that center sewing line, then your angle cuts are not going to work out very good. So one of the things I find that works the best for me is that after I set my seam with a little bit of heat, I like to just do this. Now, I'm sure Deb doesn't do this, and I'm pressing to the dark side. I like to just use my finger and press that open a little bit first so that the iron isn't pushing on it and pushing it over to the side because it was such a big hump to get over type of thing, right? And then just go up. Because if you get too much of a weeble or a wobble down that center line, your angles are not going to be right. If you eyeball it after and you think that that's got a bit of a kink in it, put your iron on one end, pull this up straight, put some tension on it, and then go up. And the heat should reset it into a straight line a bit. Okay? So start with a straight line. Now, I don't want you to get burned on that, okay?
I won't touch it.
So, the next thing is you are going to need a ruler that has a 45-degree mark on it. Doesn't have to be a huge ruler because these are fairly narrow strips. Sometimes if you're working with wide strips or a bunch of strips put together, you need quite a wide ruler to...
Especially when you come to diagonals.
Yeah, to diagonals. But in this case, you're fine with a shorter. So on your rulers, can you see those lines? For anybody who has never cut angles before, and I think there may be some of you watching or will be watching, these lines all have a mark on them that tells you what degree they are. So this line here says it's a 30-degree line. This line here tells you it's a 45-degree line. So you're going to start by putting your 45-degree line on your seam line here, okay? And the first thing you need to do is go out here and make a sort of what, I guess, a cleansing cut or whatever to get rid of this extra. So you want to put that line right on that seam line right there. So your 45-degree line is here on your ruler, and it's there. And where to put? You should have seen me looking for a cutter.
Oh, right. I got them all at the shop.
Yeah, you do. Except the one that was hidden in your thing there. So then you're just going to take... Well, we're about to find out. I didn't test it. And you're going to make your cut.
Yeah.
No, it's not too dull.
It's not too bad.
So then you're going to follow your directions. Now you have your 45 degrees started. Then it tells you that for whichever size you're doing, it gives you two different sizes, how wide your next cut has to be. So for the 12-inch size block that we're doing, we need a 3-inch strip. So you're just going to go to your 3-inch line. So there's 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch. And you're going to line that 3-inch line up. You're no longer working with your 45-degree line. You're just working with your 3-inch line on your ruler. And you're going to put that right along the edge there and make your next cut. And you're just going to continue across doing that. Now, every once in a while, especially if you have longer strips,
But got to re-straighten.
you need to re-straighten or make a new cleansing cut, because as hard as you try to have this going perfectly straight, sometimes it's off a little bit, or you didn't cut your fabric 100%.
Or your
straight,
1/4-inch seam wasn't exactly
on accurate. It could be anything at all. So if after you do 2 or 3, the way to check that is go back to your 45-degree line, line it up on there, and just do a little cleansing cut again. So a good way to double check that, to see if you're off very much, is if you line up that 45 degree on your seam, it should be, you should be able to line it up pretty straight on one of your ruler lines going this way. So if that, when it's lined up there, if that was off like this down here, you would know you need to make a cleansing cut then, right? So every 2 or 3, just double check and make a little cleansing cut and start again. Okay?
Do you want to cut another one for him just to show him?
Okay, so
You're doing it at 3
we
inches.
did the 45-degree cut.
Yep.
But now we're going to count in 3 inches. 1, 2, 3. We're going to follow that line. We're going to put that right on the edge. Whoops. Right there. And you're going to make your cut. Okay? So there's your pieces.
And how many of those do you need?
You need 8 of those. 1, 2, yeah, 8.
8.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to just go over one more time while we still have a scrap here. Let's go this way. Let's do the 45 cut one more time. So you find your line on your ruler that says 45 degrees. It's right there. You're going to follow that line. You're going to put it here on your seam. Now,
that's not in
you
enough.
See, if you were to put it there and cut, you don't have a full strip up here. So you've got to make sure that it's in far enough that your ruler is going to cover that tip. Be inside of that tip a little bit. So this isn't going to be wide enough for a strip. I'm just showing you one more time how to put the line and do your first cleansing cut with the 45 degree.
Yep.
Now, pay attention to your pattern and make sure that your fabric is laying. You do not want your light fabric on the bottom when you make this cut.
You want it on the...
You want it on the top, just like the picture. So see, you've got your dark fabric here, your light fabric up here. And that's the way we cut it, right? With the dark down there.
Okay.
So that's your first step. So now your next step.
Make 8 of those.
Is adding. Here. So I want you to really pay attention when you're doing this. There are directions here. And this is for your 4 left half square triangle sections. And then on this page, this is going to show you, because you lay them out differently, to get your 4 right half square triangles. So what that means is that in every one of these quadrants, there's 2 sides, and they're not done exactly the same. So you have to be careful with that, okay? So the next thing we're going to show you is you start and you follow these pictures. Don't.
If they're in front of you, you won't make a mistake.
Yeah.
You follow the guide.
So this is now showing us. So the other thing that's in this pattern is triangle C and triangle D. Triangle C is this smaller triangle. Triangle D is this bigger one. So we're working with the C triangle. So look at this picture. Your dark is on the bottom. Your light is on the top. You take your half square triangle. You want the cut edge that you cut, because you started with a square and you cut it on the diagonal. You want your cut diagonal edge lined up against that, just like this picture. Then you're going to flip it over. Now here's where if you've never worked with these before, you might get a little panicky. So if you look at that, you're going to see that your triangle can stick over a bit on both ends. Like, how do you put that to make it right? The 2 pieces that are shaped the same, you line those up. The 2 pieces that are a different shape, that's where you're going to have your little tail hang over the end. Is that making sense? So look, when we lay them down, like the picture, the dark is on the bottom. Put your cut side here, flip it over. You can tell immediately which 2 sides are exactly the same to line up. It's up there. This is the piece that's going to hang down over the end. Now, when you sew your seam, technically, if these have been cut accurately, and this has been cut accurately, when you come down here, your 1/4 inch seam is going to be right in that little valley right there when you sew off of it. If you're panicking that yours may not be 100% accurate, draw your 1/4 inch seam and then follow your line.
Did you draw that?
I did draw that, just for if there's a newbie or somebody that would feel better drawing it. Draw your 1/4 inch seam to follow down there.
Right down to that tip.
Yeah, it comes right down to where that little valley is, right there. Okay? So once you get that done, you're going to press to the triangle. So there, we just sewed it like this. There's where my stitches came down into the little V. You're going to press it open like this. Okay?
And
And then you're going to take your big triangle. So this is the D triangle. So see in your picture? So again, follow your picture. Your dark is down here. Here's your little triangle we just added. Your big D is going to go. Somehow I think I lost my big D triangle I brought that was free and not sewed. It's going to go up here, and you can tell that your cut side, your longest side of your triangle, is following up this side. Can you see that?
Yep.
So this one's easy because when you fold this down to sew it, you're going to just lay these two edges completely even down the edge. So when you have it up here, when you flip it down, this is going to be your straight edge, and you're going to sew across here, and the same thing is going to happen. You're going to go right and come right out in that little valley. Okay, and then you're going to press to the triangle. So that is for your left-hand side. So you're making four like that. Now, is there any questions so far?
No. Krista was the last one to say something.
Okay.
Unless Facebook's acting up again.
Okay. So then we have to do the other side. But it's the same thing. It's just they're laid out differently. So I just want you to... So remember in the first one, how we started with it laying like that? Go up here and look. It's not laying like that. It's laying like this, right?
Yep.
And then when you take your little C triangle, it's going up here with your longest cut side up here. You're going to lay it on top and do the same thing.
Wait. That looked wrong to me.
You're going to lay it on. That's going to match up,
okay,
and you're going to sew down here.
I was looking up the next one up. Sorry.
You're looking over there.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you're skipping ahead. This is your first step here. Then we're going to
But
go
can I
over
just
there.
say something?
Sure.
So to me, it looks like, according to this photo where it says C up there.
This one?
Yeah. Looks like C should be here.
No, because look, there's your dark. You don't. Oh. Wait a minute. Yeah, you're right. I'm looking at it sideways.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry. Yeah, I was looking at it from another angle. Okay.
Okay, so that's...
Yes, you're right. Very good. Thank you. Yes, so there. It's like that. So when you flip it over, again, it's immediately apparent which two pieces match up perfectly.
Yeah.
It's those two. And you're going to stitch, sorry about that, guys. And you're going to stitch right down here to that V again.
Yeah.
Then you're going to press that one open. So that's this one.
Yep.
And then you're going to add this one down there. And it's going to be the same thing. When you lay it up here, that long edge is going to be straight across. It's going to make your V over here.
Yep.
And you're going to press it down. So then you have two different quadrants that go together. So see right here? There's your two quadrants, right? I just gotta get them right. This is this. This is...
That one goes up there.
Yeah, that one goes up there, and this one goes here. There we go. Yes, I need to be standing here.
I know.
I'm trying to aim it to them, and I'm
I've got
upside
the
down.
advantage, yeah.
Okay, so there. Then these two are what's going together. Now, the one thing I'm going to tell you guys is that all of these things are on the bias. So be very careful that you're not stretching too much, because just look, for those of you who are new, that edge right there has an awful lot of stretch.
Let me go this angle. Yeah, see?
See how much stretch that is?
So you can either put some best press on it, or you can be careful.
Plus, every one of these is now on the bias. So you've got a lot of bias. So you're going to discover that maybe pinning, that this is the one time, if you haven't worked with bias and you're scared you're going to stretch it, put some pins down there as you go.
So do you have any tips about how your colors meet up so that you have an exact point?
So you can do what some people call polka pin. I don't know what you do. But if you draw your 1/4 inch seam on there, that would give you a better visual. But say your 1/4 inch seam is right there, like in 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
When you poke through here, you should be right there on, so that when you open those up, you see how those are going to meet right there?
Yep. So if you had drawn the line, that would have been easy to poke a pin.
It would have been much easier. So if you just, even if you don't want to draw the line the whole way down, if you just want to set it there, draw your line there and draw your line there, then when you poke your pin through, right on that seam, where the line was, then you might have to move this back one so that when you poke your pin, you're in the right spot there. Because if you match up both of your ends with bias, that does not necessarily mean that those are going to match up.
Ask us how we know.
Yeah, exactly. So it's always a good idea if you're going to pin this first, then match up your ends, and then you're going to make the rest of that work in with some pins or just by, if you have to give a gentle
Yeah, Jill says, thank goodness no Y seams.
No Y seams.
No Y seams on this one.
None. Once you get your 4 quadrants done, it's just a matter of sewing the 4 quadrants together. So this sounds complicated, but if you take it one step at a time, look twice before you cut, because those are tricky, because you can very easily pick up the wrong side of your triangle to sew on. You're always sewing the cut edge, the long edge of your triangle first, right? Always to the red pieces. So you've got to find that first, because if you try to sew one of those on, you're going to have a mat. You're not going to. It's not going to work. And just make sure when you cut that your initial ones that you're on that 45, and do a cleansing cut every so often. And it shouldn't be too wonky, as long as you don't stretch and pull and tug. Okay. Any questions?
I don't think so. People are just glad there's no Y seams.
Well, there's no Y seams. It's easy peasy once you get past. So
and Lynn says starch with an exclamation mark.
Yes, if you're a starcher, that really helps with stretch. It really does. Yeah. Pin, if you aren't a starcher, pins will definitely help.
And if you're new, drawing your
quarter-inch seam until you get a real feel for working with those, or for getting that more accurate. But just really watch your directions that you're making, that you're laying them out the right way. Like when you're working on it, lay it in front of you exactly how that is. Yeah,
because you were standing side too.
I was standing side too, and so you guys could see it, and it's very easy to get confused that way. So just make sure that this is in front of you, and you lay everything out the way it is, and you won't make a mistake. And double check before you sew.
Nancy's wondering if this is the center of the quilt. Did you lay this block in your center?
I don't think it is.
No. But there is that option to move blocks around too. She wanted
This is the one I don't think, well, no, I shouldn't say that. We're going to show you that there's, I think, only the 1 12.5-inch block in the quilt. But there would be places, I think, that you could move it to, like, I think. So I'm going to talk about that in detail when we lay it out on the floor, because there's a lot of options. Everybody has the ability, when we lay this out, that nobody's quilt would look exactly the same if they didn't want it to. Even though there's a layout to follow, there's a few easy peasy things you could do to make it different. So we're going to talk about
Sandy
that
says,
later.
thanks for this play-by-play.
Okay. Well, if anybody has any trouble, message me.
And when you message and ask for troubleshooting, Twyla for trouble, just begin your question with Twyla. And then we know not to open it at the shop. And then if I see that, I message Twyla and say...
I go on and check every so often, but sometimes if I'm in the middle of things, it may be like an hour or so before I get to it. Or message me directly on my messenger. If you can find me on Facebook, just Twyla Dawn Stone, you can message her if you want.
Oops, there's her butt.
Oh, that's a big one. Okay, so I think there's like 3 weeks left. I am having a hot flash. I think there's like 3 weeks left. I think there's 2 more weeks with blocks, and the last week of the block also includes the big border blocks. Oh. Right? I think there's less small blocks, but there's the big.
So with that big border, what's the size of our quilt? Sorry.
No.
I'm just wondering, are people going to want to do something else?
I might not have brought that with me.
That's okay.
It's like 80 something by 90 something. Yeah. Like it's a good size queen, but not necessarily a bedspread that would go right to the floor. Okay. Right? But you could always add another border. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could do whatever. So anyway, or when we get the blocks done, you can finish with just a good size throw with just the blocks and a narrow border around the outer edge, and not do those great big ones. Some people don't like. I know a lot of people, the older they get, they find a big full-size quilt heavy to work on and whatever. So if you want to just switch that up and just do a throw, you have that option.
Yeah.
So 2 more weeks with blocks, and then the 3rd week we're going to lay it out and we're going to show you a few things, give you the layout, but I'm also going to demo a few things on how you can switch it up and make the quilt so that not everybody's looks the same.
So the week of Christmas, I think the 25th, do we want to look and just tell them right off the bat? I think the week of Christmas will be canceled because I think Christmas is on Wednesday. Does anybody know right off? She's checking.
I'm looking.
Just give us a sec here.
Christmas is on Wednesday.
Right. So
next week are we doing, when are you gone next week?
I'm going next week.
On Monday?
Yeah.
So are we doing Wednesday night next week?
Yeah, we're going to do Wednesday next week.
Okay. Yeah.
Next week is our last week until after Christmas.
And then we can probably squeeze one in between Christmas and New Year's. Although New Year's is on the Wednesday, we might be able to get back onto the Monday night then or whatever, okay?
Yeah. We'll just keep you posted.
We will, but next week it'll be Wednesday again, just because Deb isn't around.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, Sandra's just getting started.
Oh, well,
Audrey's pretty Wonder Woman.
There's no race. They'll be there.
I know. Just do what you like.
Once the sew along is totally, they're all labeled in the video section, but once the sew along is totally done, I will put it in the playlist so that they're all together. It's more complicated, I find, to add them one at a time, so I'd rather wait till they're all there, and then I can add them all at once, and it's much easier for my old brain.
So is there background fabric in strips? I'm not sure what she means by that.
Is there background fabric in strips? There is...
In strips?
I guess it will depend on what you want to do. There's no background fabric. Do you mean like for sashing and stuff? Is that what you're referring to? Because there isn't. Your blocks just join to blocks.
Is that what you mean, Nancy?
Is that what you mean?
There's no sashing.
And then there's a first small border, then there's a really wide middle border, and then a small outer border. So your first small border, you may want it to be background. I think mine's going to be darker. I think my first border and my 3rd border, the 2 narrow ones, are going to be darker, and then my middle wide border is going to
to put the blocks together, there's no background.
No, like not for sashing. There's nothing like that. They just butt up together. But it's an easy layout because it's broke down into nice pieces to lay out. So
there's no Y seams joining the blocks together.
Nice. I don't think.
No Y seams, Jill.
Well, I don't think so. I'm just trying to picture if there was anything. See, I haven't got mine sewn together because I had to be able to bring the blocks in, right? But I don't think there is. I think they all fit together.
What size are you making yours, Twyla?
I'm going to do the queen, like the one that I'm going to show you guys with the big wide borders and whatnot.
Do we have the navy for border?
It's coming in. It's on order.
I'm
hoping it will be here when we get to it, but who knows?
I haven't noticed that it's shipped yet. Have you?
I don't think it's shipped yet, no.
So that means at least another 10
Now,
days.
if anybody needs more background fabric, I don't know, like we do have the background that we had ordered that we had run out of. A lot of that came in.
Mm-hmm.
But the wide border for the narrow border, the dark, and for binding in the 2 narrow borders, and the wide border fabric are all on order for those who bought the bundles from us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's other options in the store.
There is.
If you don't want to use the exact one that we showed.
we could find something, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have other blue borders.
And
other
that's
blue
the
fabric.
joy when you do a scrappy quilt, right? Like you can throw different things into the mix if you start to run out. That's one reason why I like scrappy so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, everybody. That is it.
That's it. So we'll see you next Wednesday night at 7.
And that will be the last until after Christmas.
Yeah. So I'll get directions posted in a little bit after I get home. Okay?
Till I kick her out.
Yeah, till she kicks me out. Okay, have a great week, guys.
Bye-bye.
Keep showing us those pictures.
Oh my gosh.
Friggin' great.
The colorways that are coming out of this sew along are amazing.
They really are. They really are. They're amazing, and it's just so neat to see everybody's different opinions of what they like and what they lean towards. It's great.
So people are still dropping off quilts to have quilted by Christmas, and we still are accepting them. But just keep in mind that we are accepting them at the new store, and you have to call to see where the pickup will be, because I'm not lugging all of the quilted quilts in, so you have to make arrangements for pickups. But
the good news is that it's only like 7 minutes down the road.
It's not very far.
It's not very far.
But yeah, we still have, I'm doing 4 tonight. We still have time to get Christmas ones done if you're doing anything last minute. Tana, your quilt turned out really nice.
She hasn't seen it yet?
No, it's still here. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.